Yes, folks, you know what that sound means. The NFL Draft is here. I am your host of the 323 Reid Murphy. That is Scott Ellia of the 323 College Shame Day. And we are literally, if you're on the 323 Network YouTube page, we are up close and right in your ass. As we go through the ultimate draft preview, we are giving you we're giving you Scott's mock draft 5.0. And it's the show's one and only that we're going to be doing on here, but you can follow him at 323 College Shame Day. Follow me at 323 Reid on TikTok and such, where all of these things will be posted and you'll be able to see his latest mock draft. But we're going to go over it tonight so that we can actually talk about the prospects with you and kind of give you an idea of who these people are, who these players are, what your team should be looking for. And Scott's got that all lined up. Last year we did dueling mocks. This year I realized I can't compete with him. We did our live show last year. My thing was falling apart. Scott's just killing it. You have to go with him. He is the expert on college football here. So I'm just going to give my my prospect rankings and see what Scott, what he thinks as we're going through. And I'm just going to, we'll have them posted, of course, to the 323, social media pages, but Scott, I feel like in the top three, I have Abdul Carter, edge from Penn State at number one, Travis Hunter, the quarterback, wide receiver, dual threat from Colorado at number two, Ashton Jeanty, running back from Boise State at three. You can't go really wrong with that three, right?
No, I mean, you can make the argument to moving I'd like to try to put another player into that top three, but no, it's pretty solidified that it's those three. They're interchangeable, of course, the mix on who you put before who, but yeah, it's pretty safe.
From there, I've got Mason Graham, the defensive tackle from Michigan. I've got him at 4. I love his run game ability. I love his stops there. Will Campbell, the apparently short-armed offensive tackle from LSU, at number 5. Still love him. I still think he's going to be great. His athleticism, his ability, as somebody called him, he's an offensive lineman's offensive lineman. I've got him at number 5. Jalen Walker, edge from Georgia. Really, really love his game. Really love his disruption. I'll pretty much watch, and root for anybody from Kirby Smart's program over, down there at Georgia. And you're going to see a lot of those names from that team here. Tyler Warren, the tight end from Penn State. I think he's a can't-miss dude. I got him at number 7. Shamar Stewart, edge from Texas A&M. Wildly, dude had 1.5 sacks last year, right? He had 1.5 sacks for them. But I think you can look at that as a lot of where he was in the system and what it was required of him. Dude's an athletic monster. He's a, gene pool freak. I think he's going to be a disruption for whatever team manages to land him, especially if he drops a little bit. Armin M'Embu, offensive tackle. I look at him a lot as a guard from Mizzou. Cam Ward is the first quarterback on my prospects list. Quarterback out of Miami. He's probably going to go number 1 not probably. He is going to go number 1 overall into the Tennessee Titans. Derek Harmon, defensive tackle I really like out of Oregon. Somebody that's a disrupted, and you're going to get a lot of good interior D linemen here. Mm-hmm. Jahad Campbell, linebacker out of Alabama. He's my 12th rank here. Really the solid linebacker here in this class. It's kind of a weak year, but it's also tough to process these coverage linebackers. Jay Sisson, shout out to you. Mike Green, edge out of Marshall. I've got him at 13. Will Johnson, cornerback out of Michigan. I know that, the cornerback slots, it kind of shifts every year as to, who are the top prospects there. Will Johnson was that number 2 guy behind Travis Hunter pretty much all year. You're starting to see some other guys like Jahdae Barron and a couple others move up ahead of him, but I still like Will Johnson a lot. I think he's got all the tools to just be a really solid number 1. Matthew Golden is my first receiver on these prospects. Wide receiver out of Texas. I love his game. I don't think he's talked about enough right now. Like you said, Tet McMillan out of Arizona is probably going to go ahead of him, but he shouldn't. Maybe something slides here as we get closer to the draft. Luther Burden III, wide receiver out of Missouri. He is my number 16 here. Yes, I also have him ahead of Tet. I just love the dude's game. Yeah, he might be a little undersized, but he is something special. You're going to see that. He's going to fall into the second round, and he's going to make somebody very happy. Josh Simmons, tackle out of Ohio State. Solid. Still going to be a really, really good starter. Not my top 2, but he's going to be really good. Tyler Booker, a guard out of Alabama. I think he's going to be the best interior lineman coming out of this. That's designed as an interior lineman from the start. Malachi Starks, safety out of Georgia. I love safeties. I have a bias towards safeties. It's my favorite position in football. I love that, last man standing. I'm ready to take that shit. Malachi Starks is a great all-around safety product. I think he's going to be a really good free safety. I love him out of Georgia. Michael Williams, also another player out of, and because they're back-to-back, we got a little double. Georgia. Yes, Michael Williams, edge out of Georgia. I have him at number 20. Colson Loveland, tight end out of Michigan. That's Scott's boy. Got him at 21. He's a freak, man. Nick Emenwari, safety out of South Carolina. I don't have it as too much of a there's not too big of a gap between him and Starks in terms of who that top safety is. I know it's been kind of switching back and forth. Tet McMillan, how do you say his first name again, Scott?
Titeroa.
Yeah, McMillan, wide receiver out of Arizona. It's either Tet or Teat that you want to call him by for short, or you can call him T-Mac. Some concerns. A little, I think with the right team, the right place, you can be really solid, or you can mess around and have a little bit of a Josh Doxson situation there. You always see one. Gray Zabel, or Zabel. I'm going to call him Zabel. I don't care what his name is. Center out of North Dakota State. That's corn-fed boy right there. He looks good. You get that one center. You get that one center going into the first round. You know that fucker's going to be a pro. All pro. Love him. Omarion Hampton, running back out of North Carolina. That dude's solid all around.
He's shooting up a lot of people's boards. I think right now on ESPN, I think he's ranked at like 13th overall.
Yeah.
He's shooting up people's boards.
That's tough. That's really high. I like him
I mean,
a lot.
especially when you look at other people in that running back class right now, right? There's so many solid running backs. Ashton Jeanty, Omarion Hampton, but then you have the two-headed monster in Trevion Henderson and Quinshon Judkins out of Ohio State, Caleb Johnson, which I feel is not getting any, and Dylan Sampson from Tennessee, who's not getting any love right now.
Yeah, Dylan Sampson really isn't. Maybe it's a size thing, but I like Sampson a lot. Hampton is somebody who I've been watching a lot of film on him, and that dude is just all around, just special in every facet that you need.
What's wrong with people who are 5'8", 200 pounds, Reid? Tell me everything that's wrong with those people.
26. We've got Kenneth Grant, defensive tackle out of Michigan. Transition. Number 27, I have another defensive tackle, Walter Nolan out of Ole Miss.
Ooh.
I think he's sneaky. He's going to be good. Kenneth Grant, I think, is one of those interior linemen that's going to be like really good, great run stuffer for a long time. I think he's a can't miss on there just for somebody who's stable. Walter Nolan is somebody who I think is going to be make or break, and I'm leaning towards make, where that's somebody who's going to be a disaster for offensive lines coming through and being a great pass rush effort. Number 28, I have Donovan Iziruaku.
You said it.
Edge out of BC, edge out of Boston College. Nico Iamaleava. Damn it, I fucked it up. Josh Connerly Jr. is my number 29, the offensive tackle out of Oregon. Emeka Ibuka. Damn, I should have gone over these. Wide receiver out of Ohio State is number 30. It was a really good receiver class, Scott.
Oh yeah. And and you can tell how like a lot of the game has changed because you got Titeroa McMillan, who's 6'4", Jaden Higgins at Ohio State, he's also 6'4", but there's a lot of guys who are like 6'2" and below. It's just the wide receiver groups are just slowly turning into nothing. You just want them fast, and they gotta be slippery when they get that second level.
Slippery when wet. Some people can say that about James Pierce Jr., the edge out of Tennessee. It's a really good edge class this year too.
Yeah, and he's kind of, I think he's fallen victim to how well the other edge rushers have kind of performed between their pro days and their scouting combines and blah, 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 blah. I think he's just kind of taken a hit. I feel like going into last year, it was kind of a neck and neck tie between him and Abdul Carter. And he's just slowly dropping down the board, which for him wouldn't be the worst thing. You'll end up going to a team who's a lot more well-established. You're not going to be expected to be the guy right out the gate. So, okay, take a little bit of a slide.
Everything about him and his name screams Ravens. Like, it just screams Baltimore. I can see
Why?
it being, because they have a knack for just taking every linebacker and defensive edge player that drops down there.
I will say it's a good bet. Whatever defensive player the Ravens do end up picking, you already know they're going to be solid.
Oh,
so
for sure.
Just trust whoever they pick. It could be anybody. Just, okay, they know what they're doing.
Yeah, they got it. Number 32, I have Tyleik Williams, defensive tackle out of Ohio State. Number 33, and I'm doing a top 35 here because, we got 32 picks in the first round, but 35 gives you, a good mix of who might slip in there. Mm-hmm. Carson Schwezinger, linebacker out of UCLA. Not a name that I'm hearing too much lately, but I've seen a lot of his game. Dude is a really good coverage linebacker. Again, like I said, I love safeties, number one. Coverage linebackers, number two. Because I had to play it for a little bit, and I wasn't good, so I respect all the people that are great with it. I think he's somebody that can make a team really happy towards the end of the first.
Luscious head of hair.
Oh, God, yes. Number 34, Shedeur Sanders, quarterback out of Colorado. Yes.
Oh, he made it.
He made it in my list.
Hey, wow.
He made it in there. Shedeur, just from a pure talent perspective, not the greatest arm, but he is somebody 100% that I think in the right scheme, with the right team, with the right coaching, like we mentioned in the previous show, LA Rams, I would love to see him go to either Pittsburgh or LA and work with a coach that can, be happy to work with him, that can be happy to utilize the talents that work well for him in the short and intermediate game and develop everything else. I like it for him. And number 35, rounding out my list, I have Maxwell Harrison, cornerback out of Kentucky. I've liked a lot of his game, solid all around. That's what I look for in a corner, is somebody who can do things on both sides, man and zone coverage. And then, I had some OLIs and Kelvin Banks Jr., tackle out of Texas. I prefer him at guard. I would like to see him at guard. Mason Taylor, tight end out of LSU. Trey Amos, corner out of Ole Miss. Mm-hmm. JT Tuimoloau, edge from Ohio State. And our boy Trevion Henderson, running back out of Ohio State. And, Scott, I have my players I don't like, but they're going to probably go higher than I'd like. All right? So that's where you might see some names that you might have been expecting to see on here, like Jahdae Barron, corner out of Texas. I am not, really, really not crazy about his size. And I can see him being that corner, that gets drafted, mid-first round. People are just looking at the athleticism and everything. And I just see him getting bullied or buried by these dudes, when you're getting receivers that are built like DK Metcalf or, McMillan, T-Mac, everything through here that, it's just not going to work for him. I also have Ariante Ursi, tackle out of Minnesota. I think he's raw, sloppy, stiff at times. He's well-sized, but you're going to see lots of overwhelmed mistakes at the start for him. And then Jackson Dart, quarterback out of Ole Miss. This is a dude I like. I love his, pure ability. I love his talent. I love what he did at Ole Miss, but it's Ole Miss. And I don't like the offensive setup there for quarterbacks and their transition to the pros. I'll love him if he goes to a team with consistent coaching that's going to aim to develop him the right way, but I'm going to hate him if he goes somewhere dysfunctional that expects an early start, like Cleveland. Let's say he winds up in Cleveland. I think you're looking at more of a Deshaun Kaiser situation with him than as opposed to a Jordan Love, where he winds up somewhere he can back up for a year, or even somewhere that we've mentioned like Pittsburgh, like a Pittsburgh or an LA, where he just might wind up as a starter randomly.
Or Detroit.
Yeah,
sit there for a little bit.
Yeah, like I like him for that. I don't think it's going to be good for him to start immediately. Those are my top prospect rankings going into all of this. Scott has thoughts, but he's got a mock. He's got a full mock draft going, folks. So we're going to get every bit of his thoughts on this. And, are you... I think to start this, Scott, it's not out of, it's everybody knows who's going number one, right?
Yeah, I think this is one of the safest bets. It's just the Tennessee Titans on the clock, and they need everything. Yeah. But the most important piece that you need is under center, and you might as well take I guess the best quarterback in a very weak quarterback class in Cam Ward, even though I don't totally agree with it. I think it's all but a guarantee at this point.
I mean, why? I don't think we've been very high on Cam Ward, but if you're the Titans, why is it that you can't pass on him to take, like an Abdul Carter, who we might view as the number one?
You know what? And I asked myself that same question because I don't know why they would want to do that. If I was running the Tennessee Titans organization right now, I would take an Abdul Carter, or I would take like a Will Campbell, get a tackle, or like a Mason Graham up front. Like I would get a big body up front somewhere that you can kind of build around. There's just so much pressure on production and expectations coming to the quarterback. But I mean, Cam Ward, he's a dog. He's gonna play. He's gonna go in there. He's gonna give it his all. He's not gonna be like Will Levis eating mayonnaise. But I hope for the best. They have a lot more issues than just a quarterback. And all due respect, if I was the Titans, I would either take, like I said, one of these cornerstone pieces on the front, or trade back and get just a plethora of picks from somebody who wants him more than I do.
That's Cam Ward right there at number one. Scott, I'm going to hand you the reins. You go at your comfort level, where who you got at number two?
Number two, the Cleveland Browns are on the clock, and they are taking who I believe is gonna, at this point, looking at without thinking about any production, because 5 years down the road it's going to be a completely different story. But give me the number one overall prospect in this year's draft in Abdul Carter going to Cleveland. The New York Giants are in a very similar situation as the Titans. They need everything. And you might as well kill two birds with one stone, because Travis Hunter, the wide receiver, cornerback, dual two-way player, is still sitting on the board. So the Giants are going to end up taking Travis Hunter at number 3.
Look at that. Wow. Now, we just mentioned all this about the Titans and what they need, right? As opposed to what they should take and all of this and everything. Is this the proper pick for the Giants to take Shedeur, or to take Travis Hunter over like Shedeur Sanders? Yes. Between the two of them, absolutely. Where it kind of gets a little bit more sticky is am I picking Travis Hunter or a Will Campbell or Armin Membao? Am I taking an lineman? Because they did buy themselves not a lot of time, but a little bit more time, with the acquisitions of Jameis Winston and Russell Wilson in there. You still got, Tommy Colclett's still sitting there. So you have a quarterback room. You have you already have 3 or 4 quarterbacks sitting there. You don't need to add another one in the mix, especially one that's going to bring more media hype to a locker room that doesn't need it at this point in New York. So take the safe bet, take him. You can put some, you can have good mentors in place for a Travis Hunter. I mean, who wouldn't want to be under the tutelage of a Jameis Winston? No.
And kind of rely on him and Russell Wilson and, some of the other players they have there in New York. And like I said, you can kill 2 birds with one stone. Now I think it's going to come down to, okay, where is he going to be playing the most? I feel that's going to be a corner. And then you're going to kind of build packages for him on offense, but he's not going to be playing at the production level that he did in college at the NFL. I don't think it's a smart move for anybody. All right, coming in at number 4 after that New York Giants pick, we got the New England Patriots on the clock, and this is where you need to solidify the trenches. Give me Will Campbell, offensive tackle, LSU.
Look at that, Hottie.
I mean, I know he's got short arms, but like he said in his press conference, he never heard about his short arms when he was playing.
Right.
So I think at this point, especially with the Patriots, I really truly feel it's going to be an offensive tackle, whether it's Will Campbell or Armin Membau. It's kind of a toss-up. You can't go wrong with either one of them. But I feel that Will Campbell probably plays a little bit more to the Patriot fan base.
Yeah, I see that. Yeah. Just Boston.
Let's get the fifth pick out of the way. Jacksonville Jaguars is another no-brainer pick. I think this is really just a very chalk, safe pick. Mason Graham, defensive lineman out of Michigan. They have Travis Kelce. God, I hope they never did. They still have Trevor Lawrence there at quarterback. They don't need a quarterback. I don't see them reaching at that point. And now if Travis Hunter does fall to 5, I could see him grabbing a Travis Hunter, but I don't think he's going to be there at 5. And I don't see them trying to move up to grab him. With how their defense played last year, I think addressing the trenches on the defensive front is probably the best move for them at this point. Going to number 6, and I hate to say it, give me Shedeur Sanders to the Las Vegas Raiders at number 6. I mean, there's another team that they have so many more needs. I feel bigger than at quarterback, but at this point, they could use a corner. They could use a wide receiver or a running back. You could see Ashton Jeanty potentially going here. You could see a Luther Burden or Tito McMillan or a Jade Barron, somebody else going here. But I feel if you're the Raiders, you're here at 6, you're trying to sell tickets, you're trying to get the team back on the map. Why not get the glitz and glamour that's not New York or LA? You have it in Vegas. So yeah, give me Shedeur Sanders there at 6.
I mean, that's one of Tom Brady's boys too.
Right. I mean,
and if you're supposed to be in the war room,
right. And if you're Dion, like go play for the quarterback, the greatest quarterback in the history of the NFL. Go try to look, because Tom Brady's not going to try to show Shedeur Sanders a couple of tricks here and there. Coming at number 7, this is where you're going to see that second tackle come off the board of Armin Membau out of Missouri, going to the. Oh, that's the wrong one. There we go. I will say. I could see him saying that to any kind of edge rusher trying to rush the line. Pause.
Because they're edging.
We be edging.
Now go.
But this is another one of those teams. You made a move quarterback. You brought in a Justin Fields. You have plenty of weapons on the outside. You got Breece Hall there. You have a very young and talented defensive side of the ball. You need to address the issues, and that is on that offensive line. So give me arguably the first, if not the tied for first tackle in this year's draft in Armin Membau. And this is where you're going to see a trade come up here at number 8. The normal number 8 pick is the Carolina Panthers, but I have them trading back to 15 with the Atlanta Falcons, and they're going to make a reach. And they're going to do something silly like they always do. They're going to take the boy from their backyard, Michael Williams, edge out of Georgia. I feel like this is going to be a move for the Falcons. They're going to get scared, and they're just going to want to grab the guy they want to grab, because once those edge rushers start coming off the board, you're not left with much. So they're going to try to get their top guy outside of Abdul Carter. Coming in at number 9, you got the New Orleans Saints on the clock. We talked about this already. Maybe Shedeur Sanders goes here. They definitely need help at quarterback. They could use help on the defensive side of the ball, corner and edge as well. But I don't trust the Saints making the right pick. So they're going to end up taking Tito McMillan, wide receiver out of Arizona. Coming up on the clock at number 10, you got the Chicago Bears. I mean, the Chicago Bears, they have the pieces, right, Reid? I mean, they have a lot of young core guys on both sides of the ball. Ashton Jeanty, they could really use a running back. Got Caleb Williams, Roma Dunze there on the offense. You got Ashton Jeanty on the backfield. You can kind of buy, Caleb Williams a little bit more time. But an Ashton Jeanty can't be successful if the offensive line isn't successful. And we saw that last year with how beat up they were getting. You have to address that offensive front. So give me the next best tackle off the board. I know you're not high on him, but give me Kelvin Banks, offensive tackle out of Texas.
I'm not particularly high on him, but I do agree with you about what you said about Ashton Jeanty. It's where we don't want to see him go too high. Like, what if you're like the Saints, right, or the Raiders even? And we know Pete Carroll loves to do a a run-first kind of offense, and that's currently where I have Jeanty projected to go, you have other things to fill. You have other things to worry about. It's not going to help Ashton Jeanty going that high, right? Like, he'll get his production, but you're going to see more of a Saquon Barkley probably level career. You saw it with Saquon, you saw it with Gurley, you saw it with Zeke, where things are just kind of wasted for a while and then falls out, and then you might have success later on, like Barkley, or you just get used up and, tossed away, like your boys from, Zeke and Gurley.
Right. And when you talk about production, I mean, you're talking about the king of production alone in college football last year in Ashton Jeanty. I mean, he is already worn down from heavy use. He's slightly, and when I say slightly, he's slightly undersized at the position in the next level. He needs to improve on his ball security, but I mean, he breaks tackles very easily. He has great speed and vision. He's a strong receiver at the backfield, which is what you want out of a running back in today's day and age. But yeah, if you already have a shaky line, you can't expect your rookie phenom running back to be successful. And I think this is where the Bears need to be smart and address the key issue, and that is that offensive line. Coming in at number 11, Reid, we have another trade. Oh! LA Rams are trading up to number 11 and swapping picks with the San Francisco 49ers. They will be now drafting at 26. But coming in at number 11, the Rams, I mean, who'd you lose? You lost Cooper Kupp. Cool. All right. You already saw the production that they're able to get out of the wide receiver position, especially with Matthew Stafford still there in a very wide receiver friendly offense. But their defense is getting scarier and scarier by each passing season. I think it's only going to get scarier again because they're going to go after, I have him listed as a linebacker. I think in some places he's listed under edge rusher. But give me Jalen Walker from Georgia.
That's not.
No, you can't show that yet.
He is.
You saw another. There he is. There's Jalen. Yeah, give me Jalen Walker, edge rusher out of Georgia. Coming in at number 12, you got the Cowboys here on the board. And yeah, this is where if Ashton Jeanty doesn't get drafted here, I'd be very interested to see where he ends up going. So give me Ashton Jeanty to the Cowboys. Pick 13, the Miami Dolphins are on the clock, and if it's not offensive tackle, and at this point you're going to be reaching for any offensive tackles left on the board, it's safety, and you might as well take the best safety in this year's draft in Malachi Starks. Number 14, the Indianapolis Colts are on the board. They're still trying to make AR-15 work. Why? I don't know, but you might as well. There's another famous 44 that played for Indianapolis Colts back in the day. Reid, do you know who that was?
Ooh, Auto Mechanic.
Wrong. Tight end Dallas Clark. So give me another number 44 tight end Tyler Warren out of Penn State.
The Great White 44s. He's already got the blue too.
Right. It's a very simplistic helmet or jersey combo.
Mm-hmm.
It just screams Colts, so it just makes sense. Coming in pick number 15, this is that trade with the Carolina Panthers and the Atlanta Falcons. Got the Panthers on the board. Give me Will Johnson, cornerback out of Michigan here for them.
Austin Shamble.
I know you could also.
Happy.
I mean, I think he would be. He better be. Austin. Number 16, you got the Arizona Cardinals here. I mean, like I said, it pained me not to have them trade back a little bit and like reach for like Emeka Egbuka to pair him back up with Marvin Harrison Jr. down there in the desert with Kyler Murray. That would be a very interesting offense to watch. But they have so many issues, primarily on that defensive front between edge rushers and D-line. Give me Shamar Stewart, edge rusher out of Texas A&M.
That's my guy.
Speaking about your guy, the Cincinnati Bengals. Go Bengals. Another thing, I mean, Joe Burrow he seems to have glass bones. He keeps getting hurt year in and year out. Maybe it's offensive line issues, but you can't. He can only do so much. That defensive side of the ball needs to step up in a big way, and you can't get any bigger than Mike Big Green at Marshall, the edge rusher.
Go Bengals.
Think Jay Sisson would rock a Bengals jersey?
I think he would. For Mike Green, yeah. Their first, that would be Marshall's first round pick in so many years.
Randy Moss, was he the last one? Chad Pennington.
I think it was Chad Pennington.
Should we look this up really quick?
I'll look it up. I got you.
Yeah,
I'm on my
give me production read up. Coming in at number 18. Number 18, the Seattle Seahawks are on the board. I think it's another one of those picks where it's very clear where they need to go. It's that interior offensive line. So give me who I arguably would say is the best interior offensive lineman in this year's draft, and Tyler Booker out of Alabama. You could see Gray Zabel. You could see him there. Donovan Jackson. Maybe one of those smaller tackles, move him on the inside as well. But I really would like to see Tyler Booker go to Seattle. My pick, Reid. This is my pick, not your pick. This is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And I know with as many issues that we have on the front seven, with the edge rushers and linebackers, I feel that secondary is still a liability there in Tampa. So give me Jahdae Barron, cornerback out of Texas.
Jahdae. Oh, Jahdae.
Hey, Jahdae. Coming in at number 20, the Denver Broncos. If you want Bo Nix, we've talked about this before. You want Bo Nix to make that next step, you have to give him another weapon. So let's give him Reid's guy, wide receiver out of Texas, Matthew Golden.
Yeah. You didn't see him earlier.
Scary. That'd be scary. You have him back there, like kickoff returns and punt returns, and maybe throw him in the slot, get some speed.
Bo Nix would love him. Bo Nix would absolutely love him. And just to close the loop, with your 323 sports trivia update, the last first-round pick from Marshall. Who'd you guess?
What year was it?
It was 2003.
Then Chad Pennington, right? No?
It was a quarterback, but it was actually Byron Leftwich. Went 7th.
Oh, no.
Yep.
To the deck. Oh, Byron, I'm sorry.
They have not had a first round pick in 22 years for Marshall.
Well, this is a good year to break it.
But they've had some, I was going to say they've had some good players. I mean, they had Vinny Curry in 2012. Probably the last, recognizable name. Darryl Roberts to the Patriots. But yeah.
Ooh.
So shout out to Mike Green. Could be the very first one in a while.
Coming up at number 21, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, Reid, you could see another quarterback come off the board here. You could see a Jackson Dart. Jalen Milroe, maybe he sneaks in here. I mean, I know Morion Hampton, he's been climbing up a lot of people's boards, and they could use a running back. They let go of Najee Harris. Is Jalen Warren still with the Steelers? I believe so, right?
Yeah. Why did I think that he was a free agent this year? Maybe he was one of those.
I thought he was. I know they both were up for contract. I just remember Najee Harris. I just remember him actually signing anywhere. But you could see the running back come off the board. Huh?
He's still with the Steelers.
Oh, that's what I thought. But no, they're going to go defensive line here, specifically for Michigan and Kenneth Grant.
Wait.
Oh, Derek Harmon. I lied.
I was looking at it. I was like, wait a minute.
You know what it was? Okay, it was because I was looking at a different program and I saw it. I was staring at his name while I was talking. But no, folks, Derek Harmon, defensive tackle. Sorry, Kenneth. He might come back up. Who knows? Anyways, coming in at number 22.
Again, fuck the beast. Get out of here, Dane Brugler. We got this.
Yeah. This is the production value you want. Los Angeles Chargers. This was my guy that I gave you. This just makes so much sense. Colston Loveland, tight end out of Michigan.
Some would say you could Loveland it. Yeah.
Anyways, back to the draft. Number 23, Green Bay Packers. You could go cornerback or edge here for them specifically, but let's go with the edge this go around. More specifically with Nick Scourton out of Texas A&M. I feel like it's going to be a reach pick for them. And you have James Pierce still on the board there. You have Donovan Azarenko still out there on the board. But I think they're just going to make a reach and try to go after him.
And they
coming in
can
at
use a receiver, and it's the Packers, so yeah. Let's reach on a defensive end.
If anything, and this goes out to Mr. Good, if anything is proven right, the Packers will not draft who they should draft. So.
Correct. Yes.
Oh well. But Minnesota Vikings, we'll say in the NFC North, the Minnesota Vikings reigning NFC North champs? No.
Yeah,
yes.
No.
Yes.
No. Lions.
Well, anyways, they won't be this year though. Give me safety out of South Carolina, Nick Emanwari.
Good save there.
Number 25, the Houston Texans are on the board, and they just need to focus, get a wide receiver like in round 6, round 5 or 6. Just do that. Your first 4 rounds worth of picks need to be on the offensive line. You need to protect CJ Stroud. You need to protect him at all costs. So you might as well just take the best tackle you have left on the board. Offensive tackle out of Ohio State, Josh Simmons. San Francisco 49ers are back on the clock after their whirlwind trading down to number 26 overall. I think this could be a very interesting move. Part of you feels maybe they should address the defense, like the secondary or the edge rushers. Maybe try to bring in some offensive line help for Brock Purdy and team. But I kept looking at this, and Walter Nolan's name just kept staring at me in the face. Let's go with Walter Nolan, D lineman out of Mississippi. And Reid. I mean, when you think Ravens, you think just power, ferocity, just killer spirit, just has a nose for the football, refuses to bend. Gray Zabel, center, North Dakota State.
That's a center name, too.
He's going to be playing in Baltimore for 20 years. He's going to be the next. You know what? I'll plant the flag right now. April 13th, 2025 at 9:16 p.m. Gray Zabel will be inducted into the Baltimore Ravens Ring of Honor and the NFL Hall of Fame. Booking it right now.
You heard it.
That's right. Anyways, going to number 28, the Detroit Lions are here on the board. So let's give another one of my guys, Reid. I think this seems like a very Detroit pick. And we're going to go with cornerback here in Siobhan Revel Jr. out of East Carolina. But now, I know this is what you were waiting for, Reid. I know this is what all the fans of the show were waiting for. 29. Who's picking at 29, Reid? Tell the fans.
The Commanders.
The Commanders, and there's a couple of different things you could do here. I mean, an edge rusher would be great. Maybe some more wide receiver help. Maybe get another one of these young corners or running back. But I'm gonna go with someone who I feel is going to be an anchor on that defensive side of the ball for years to come. He's going to be a captain very, very quickly on that defensive side of the ball as well for Washington. Give me Jahad Campbell, linebacker out of Alabama. I love it. Now we're getting towards the end of the draft. We got picks 30, 31, and 32. Very, very chalk picks. You could see some of these other teams trying to trade up into these later the first round. These guys trading back because they really don't have anything of a really pressing need. But just for tonight's sake, Reid, let's just keep it chalk. The Buffalo Bills are up at 30. They could use some extra help on the defensive line. So let's give them James Pierce Jr., edge rusher out of Tennessee. And these other two teams we really don't care about. Chiefs, Tyleik Williams, defensive tackle out of Ohio State. And I guess we'll talk about the Eagles. I mean, the rich just getting richer, am I right? I think this is going to be another sneaky pick, dude. I think this edge rusher coming out of Boston College, Donovan Ezeureku, I'm going to go with that one. They could use the edge help, and he's going to be a very solid player. I guess we hope he's going to be a solid player. I don't hope he'll be a solid player, selfishly. But he's already an Eagle. You might as well keep him an Eagle in the NFL. And I don't know what Reid's saying because he muted himself.
I'm rooting for him to have personal success. But I don't, it's one of those I'm happy for you and sorry that happened to you kind of things.
Oh.
Yeah.
But yep. That is this week. Of course, like I said, Reid, we have one more mock draft to go before the big night, Thursday, April 24th. Where are they at this year? Where they end up going? Green Bay. Did they go to Green Bay this year?
For the draft? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, because the logo's green this year. Weirdly.
Ugh.
I saw a picture of all the old draft logos. Why did we stop doing that? Like why stop having like cool draft logos?
Oh, how they kind of look like how the old school like
the old Super Bowl,
like Super Bowl ones.
Yeah.
Because it's a lot easier to change colors instead of changing whole designs and just changing a number.
We've learned that as we've done more graphics.
Listen, efficiency is great. I do miss the day that I'm looking at some of these NFL draft logos over the years, and the standardization has just gotten so boring. But you can say that with a lot of logos. We've had that conversation before once or twice.
Yeah. We don't need logo talk right now. Sorry, folks. We'll get you. We'll get you through. This is the draft, and you got to get excited for it. It's going to be all the exciting things. Surprise picks, shocking trades, veteran former star players announcing picks in the second and third round, and you learn that they can't read. So it's kind of sad when you see them come up there and try to pronounce a name that they truly cannot pronounce, and they didn't get any chance to practice it. It's going to have it all the excitement and fun of the NFL draft, and you will be able to watch it probably with us. I know I'm going to be on live that draft night. I believe Scott Ellia of the 323 College Shame Day will be on live as well, and try to do our annual food swap that gets sent from Uber Eats. Food swap. Yeah. Food swap. And you never know who else is going to join us. We had a lot of fun with about 9 different people all screaming into the stream at the exact same time when Michael Penix Jr. went to Atlanta at 9, about 2 hours into the thing. It's a long show, but we cut it off at a certain point.
You have to.
Can't do that. I can't Burt Kreischer it again. It's going to be fun, and it's going to be a lot of fun lead up to it. You can check him out, and like you said, all of his mocks coming up and everything else at 323 College Shame Day on Instagram. Find me at 323Reid, at 323REID on all the social medias. On TikTok, we got all the Shame Day content over there too, and you can check out the mocks there. And Scott's been putting out so much great content for different sleeper players, for all the different rankings, transfer portal news. He's got it all. You got to check it out on those pages for him and argue with them. People have been doing it on TikTok. He doesn't even know it. And I've been arguing with them for him. And in his name, it's great. People will come for him. They will fight. They will bring knives, but it'll be great. You're welcome, Scott.
Well, and now I feel like we need to have a post-production meeting because now I need to be privy of this information. I didn't know I had death threats out there for myself. Now I got to look behind my back everywhere I go.
Shout out to the haters. Again,
we made it.
Check us out all over the place. The 323 Network on YouTube. Subscribe to us there. Thank you for supporting us and doing all that you do, folks. Scott, thank you for being here. Can't wait to talk to you about the draft as it's happening.
It's my favorite time of year, and there's no one else that I'd rather spend it with.
Aw, as he sends me KFC, and we have a lot of questionable talks going into the draft. It's wonderful. We will talk to you later, folks. Stay safe. And again, thank you. Love you. But that's why I say stay safe. So I don't have to say love you to the fans. So, stay safe.
Wow.
Who?
Can Superman outrun the Flash?
Sure, why not?
That was supposed to be the John Gruden who.